Welcome to the site of the Wabash and Erie Canal. The Nook family came all the way from Germany on the Wabash, Erie, and Canal. This canal brought many German immigrants to Huntington County and all of northern Indiana. It opened up this area for settlement by providing a way of transporting goods and people. The Nook family traveled by log canoe down the Maumee River to Fort Wayne. Since the canal had been opened between Fort Wayne and Huntington on July 4th, 1835, they finished their journey by canal. The canal was started on Washington's birthday in 1832. When it was opened, there was a big celebration in Fort Wayne. Many famous people came to see its opening. Michigan's Governor Cass, spoke at the opening. As he stepped off the canal boat, he fell into the canal. Rather a soggy beginning. Governor Cass was a candidate for president of America, or the U.S., at that time. It was built mostly by Irishmen, as there really was no one here yet who could help build the canal. The workers were a rather rowdy bunch. They were paid $10 to $15 a month, or about 4 cents per hour. Also, each man got 6 jiggers of whiskey a day. This was thought to be a deterrent for snake bite and malaria. They and the Germans brought their dislike for each other with them from the old country. They would call each other names and get into many fights. The workers had to grub out this big ditch totally by hand by using wooden shovels, picks, buckets, augers, hand drills, gunpowder, wheelbarrows, horses, and wagons. They used a giant wheel stump puller. There were about 6 deaths per mile of canal built, caused by cholera, fights, and murder. When they came to a river, they built an aqueduct over it so as to not lose the water in the canal. It looked like a bridge of water over the river. There is an aqueduct where the canal had to pass over Silver Creek, still evident 2 miles west of here. Because the land is not level, many locks were built to carry the canal boats either higher or lower in a box-like, water-filled, gated mechanism. The forks of the Wabash lock was located here. The boat would pull into the lock, the gates would close. Water was pumped in to allow the boat to rise. The upper gate was then opened, and the boat could continue having been lifted to a higher level and could proceed on towards Fort Wayne. The procedure would then be reversed on the return trip to Lafayette. The canal was about 26 to 40 feet wide and 4 to 6 feet deep at the bottom. The boats were box-like in shape, 12 to 16 feet across and 50 to 90 feet long. There was a flat house-like structure in which the passengers or freight were stowed on top. Many settlers and businessmen came by canal boat and settled in this area. The passenger boats, or packets, hauled about 20 to 40 passengers. The boat was pulled by 1 to 4 mules, attended by a mule driver. A rope was tied to the boat from the mule team. The boat was pulled at approximately a speed of 5 miles per hour. A trip from Delphi to Fort Wayne took 5 days. The scenery was beautiful as the boat slid gently along. Huge native forests could be viewed on both sides. Travel in the winter was impossible because the canal froze. In the summer, the heat and humidity were intolerable, especially below deck, and the mosquitoes were plentiful. Imagine trying to sleep in a closed cabin, sweating profusely, with mosquitoes buzzing and biting everywhere. The passengers were served basic meals, nothing fancy. Greasy pork and fish were common. Some packets were beautifully furnished. A ladies' lounge was provided for women passengers only. There was also a men's lounge. These doubled as sleeping rooms at night. There were 3 tiered bunks, only 20 inches wide and 6 feet long for sleeping. Stops along the way were Huntington, Wabash, Peru, Logansport, and Delphi. Stores, inns, warehouses, and taverns for drinking and eating grew up in these towns to service the canal boat passengers. Freight boats shipped Indiana produce to market. In an average year, the canal carried 7 million pounds of bacon and lard, 2 million bushels of corn, 1 million bushels of wheat, 5 million feet of lumber, plus considerable quantities of other products. Wagons were often lined up at the canal boat wharf for loading onto the boats to be sent to market in the east. Items which were now available from the east were cranberries, nails, furniture, leather, sugar, salt, cotton yarn, iron castings, stoves, and many other items. Huntington businesses grew up around the canal. As the boats passed through Huntington, there were 6 10-foot locks. People were used to hearing, "Lock below, low bridge." The bridges were built low, and a passenger had to duck if sitting on top of the boat, or he might find himself in the canal. And steady, steady, a passenger could get quite a jolt if the boat bumped into the side of the canal. In its heyday, the canal was the scene of bustling activity, about 300 boats a season. The Wabash and Erie Canal was the longest canal in the country. It ran 468 miles. The cost of sending products east went from 10 cents a ton mile to 1 cent a ton mile after the canal was built. The cost of the canal was $125 million. The railroads, which came in the 1850s, put the canal out of business as they were faster and more dependable. Indiana went bankrupt. It was not able to pay for the canal debt. As a result, Indiana's new Constitution of 1851 said that Indiana would no longer go into debt. Indiana is the only state whose constitution forbids this. Between 1840 and 1850, the counties adjacent to the canal grew nearly 400% more than twice the growth of the rest of Indiana. The canal lasted from 1835 to 1876, and many businesses were built because of the reliable eastern outlet. The population of Huntington County was 1,579 in 1840. By 1870, the population had grown to 19,036.